Hello everybody, Megazord here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting video. And for today's video, we got to talk about a big game right here. That is none other than Spider-Man 2. I managed to play through the game, and managed to beat it in its entirety in terms of the main story. And oh my gosh, that game gave me such a big, and I mean a big impact for me personally, where honestly, I feel like this might be my game of the year pick right here. And with me feeling that strong about it, and me being the big Marvel fan that I am, of course I gotta sit down and dedicate a video to talk about all these thoughts. Though I was kind of torn whether or not to make this like an official review, or review impressions, or like a mini review, and I think I came down to the conclusion, let me just do it as a mini review. So it's just gonna be like an off the cuff. It's not gonna be scripted or anything like that though, but since I managed to beat the game, I was well give my whole entire thoughts on it though within this short amount of time though. However, for like the good first half, it'll be no spoilers up in the thing at all, just the general consensus from stuff we've been getting from trailers and stuff. But at some point in the middle of the video, I will give you the spoiler warning. So if you hadn't managed to beat the story at that point though, then you probably want to dip out, and you can come back and watch it whenever you finish the game though. But I think that's going to be the overall structure for this one video right here, right now though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date. All things video game related, I feel like talking about and discussing. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video.
Rivers of destruction, here on my command. Rivers of destruction, again and again. Rivers of destruction, here on my command. Rivers of destruction, again and again.
Spider-Man 2, the sequel to the original Spider-Man game that we gotten on the PS4, as well as, its spin-off with Spider-Man Miles Morales. We know this game is centered both around Peter Parker as well as Miles Morales. And, both of these two characters managed to go through quite a different challenges and different issues and stuff like that within both of their respective games. Obviously, we all know Peter Parker and how his story basically ended within like the first game and stuff like that. Even from the original trailer sequence of like those after credit scenes, we kind of already knew that one of the primary villains in this game was gonna be Venom. And oh my gosh, me being like a hardcore, like Venom is like one of my top, or if not favorite, Marvel villain in general. I was like, yes, I was ecstatic through the moon on that as being one of the primary villains. But he's not the only villain in this game. That's what we kind of saw within different trailers and stuff. We knew that Kraven was also going to be a major villain as well. That was going to basically uphold the game for the most entirety of this game. In terms of the major plot line, we had Miles and Peter just going around doing like what they normally do with most of their Spider-Man duties and stuff like that though. Say that Sandman introduction though, I thought that was like a top amazing intro in terms of just getting the ball started for this story though. There's some cool introductions in terms of like a lot of different games out there though. That one really stood out. I'm just gonna say that right there though. But obviously we know Kraven's going through the whole entire city, and stuff. Why in the world he wants to hunt that much, we didn't know at the start of the game though, but that just happens to be his passion. So he's going through and trying to hunt all these different villains and stuff that Spider-Man and Peter and Miles managed to lock up and put behind bars throughout these past couple of games and stuff like that. He even went as far to actually try to do some things to them to actually put them back in the game. I'll just say that right there though. But it was kind of crazy though. Now honestly, the one thing that most people were going to think about in this game was in terms of the combat and the traversal. How did both of those two things compare based upon the two previous games we gotten before this? So we're talking about the combat. The combat, I felt like for the most part, it was almost like a copy paste. Like most of the stuff you were able to do in some of the past games, this is one thing I actually did like. With that, albeit even though it's supposed to be like copy paste, a lot of the things that you happen to upgrade in the previous games, like in terms of you going through and just doing certain types of combo attacks and stuff like that, they actually moved that over to this game, and I was able to do some of these different crazy combos and stuff from the previous game where you have to go through and actually unlock and get yourself up into that point. So it does feel like, if you played the first two couple of games, there is some things that are going to be able to roll over straight into this game where you're not going to feel like you're going to drop behind the ball at all. Same thing applies with the traversal stuff, because I think one of the major gripes that some people might have had within the first couple of games was, even though you're web swinging and stuff like that, physics behind it is great and all, but if you want to go from point A to point B and you weren't fast traveling, that's where things kind of got a little bit dicey because it did take a while to kind of go through and traverse through the city. The one major introduction with this one, with the web gliders, that changes the game completely. With the combination you being able to go through the city and swing, but then also pop out your gliders and be able to glide and stuff. Oh my gosh, it's so easy to go from point A to point B. I didn't really catch myself fast traveling a whole bunch in this game. You technically have to unlock fast traveling by doing a lot of different either side quests or certain missions and stuff like that. You have to do a number of different things to actually unlock fast travel for a certain section of the city though. However, with the way I could traverse in this game between the glider and the swinging, I didn't feel like the need I needed to fast travel. Like I was able to get from point A to B to C fairly quickly. And a lot of that was helped thanks to these, like, there's like these little wind tunnels that will pop up in the city in certain areas where you're actually able to glide and you're able to have a lot of speed going up and down those currents like that. So I felt like the traversal was greatly expanded upon it. I feel like they did more changes with the traversal than they did with the combat, but the combat was really good, albeit when you actually managed to have some of those popping off moments. Like there's like a certain meter that's up in the top right corner of the screen, and when you're able to press the 2 trigger buttons in, it allows you to kind of go into this little boosted state and allows you to actually do a lot more stacked up energy and stuff like that. Normally, within the past couple of games, you hold a trigger, brought up a wheel, and you had to select it, and it kind of took you out of the loop of what you were actually doing. Like it kind of froze time just a little bit, allow you to throw out like one of your little gadgets and then kind of keep fighting. This game is completely different. Just that one simple thing right there, I think helped played into the immersion that Insomniac Games was trying to bring forward within Spider-Man 2 right here. Now, in terms of those side quests, I felt like these felt a whole lot better to do than some of the other ones that you were able to do within the past game. There was like one that kind of stood out. It was kind of towards the early part of the game though, but it's like you playing through as Miles and being able to actually help an old dude that happened to get lost in my park area and whatnot though. If you happen to run across that side quest, I highly recommend doing it. I won't say anything more than that though, but it just kind of put in perspective you know Miles as well as Peter, they're both human beings at the end of the day. You remove the power from them, they're still a person at heart, and it kind of has those emotional time moments where I felt like those side quests or side adventures, they felt almost just as important as the mainline story parts and elements of the game though. So I can't say how many times I managed in the previous games stop a car chase or something like that, and then you happen to try to stop the actual car itself from like having to hit something like that, and you having to spam that square button or whatnot. No, they removed that part. It's automated, so I can appreciate them doing small little tweaks like that though. The cool thing with this game is you're not just playing with just one Spider-Man, you're playing with 2. So obviously, yes, that one part you got Peter Parker and he's using his original Spider-Man suit and stuff, but then later on in the game there's no shock and no surprise, you get the symbiote suit, and that symbiote suit, oh my gosh, that mess be hitting though. Oh man, like there's a whole nother subset, because at first I was looking at him, I was like, well, between Peter and Miles at the start of the game, you had basic old Peter and you had Miles with his Venom related stuff, you had like the stealth hidden stuff, hit that one button on the controller and then he becomes invisible, helps you take down enemies a lot easier like that. Between the two of them, you always want to be Miles, but the second you get that symbiote suit unlocked, all the attention and focus goes to Peter. You don't want to play as Miles as much anymore. Everything kind of focused and wanted to kind of point its head towards that cool symbiote suit though. Now, in terms of both of them, I like how you're able to control as 2 of them. You either play certain missions that are only locked to one character, and then there's some missions that are only locked to another character. So they give you a reason why you have to switch. It's not like you can play the whole entire game as just one though. So obviously with the skill trees and stuff like that, one thing I liked is in the past games, when you unlocked a certain suit, there was like a certain ability that was kind of tied and tethered to that suit. However, in this game, you're actually able to unlock the suits as you please, but you can use certain modes or certain abilities and stuff that are usually attached to those particular kind of suits, and you're actually able to apply them with any suit that you're wearing, whether it be Peter or whether it be Miles. So I mentioned it a little while ago with some of the different kind of stealth missions that you can kind of do, because it's always an option. You can take the straightforward approach, which they give you that option a couple of times throughout the story though, where you want to take the brute force way and knock out everybody you want, or you can be kind of stealthy with your takedowns and stuff. But one cool thing that they managed to actually add on to this was the fact that you're able to actually make these tether lines from point A to a point B and actually be able to walk on it. So you're kind of making your own little zip ties across the room, which actually allows you to be able to take special takedowns a lot easier because you're able to actually forge your own path forward, which I find that to be really cool because there were some moments where it's like I wanted to take down every single enemy in whether it be like Miles Morales or the first Spider-Man game, and I just couldn't do it. So then I had to go through and just brute force my way through. I like how they made little changes to that as well though. But overall, the story is the main reason why everybody and their mama show up to play this game, which I know for some people, I actually managed to go through and beat the game within the span of 20 hours or so. So for some people, they were thinking, well, is that $70 price tag justified for a game that's this short? Personally speaking, the older you get, the more you kind of want your games to be somewhat a little bit shorter, just because you want to go through and play through a whole bunch of games. It's just that much easier when they're that much shorter though. But I did not feel like I was robbed from the money that I put up in this game with me being a big Marvel fan in general, or just Spider-Man fan in general. The lasting impact I had from this story was just that great, where I felt like I got everything out of the $70 though. So that's why you're able to go through and beat it within a relatively short time. It's a meaningful and an impactful punch that will kind of leave you kind of wondering, dang, they really just did that in this game. It has you wanting to crave a little bit more after looking at the after ending credit scene and stuff like that, and having certain cool playable moments up in there. That's all I'll say right there before I get to the spoilery part though. But yeah, it had you craving a lot more within this game, and it left you with a really good, outstanding taste right here. This is gonna be it in terms of the no spoiler kind of part of the review though. So now, if you don't want to get spoiled on the actual main story of the game, then you might want to go ahead and dip out right here. All right, y'all still here? All right, let's get down into it because there's some stuff I gotta say about this game. Because oh shoot, man. Okay, so we literally had the first part of the game, then you had the whole Craven arc, which the Craven arc I felt like was a good 80% of the game or something like that. Everything kind of tied up in it though. But I felt like the point of no return was the second that you got that symbiote suit, you started to feel that kind of urge of, oh, I gotta keep playing though. But the true point of no return was the point where you came in as Peter with the symbiote suit on, and there was like a MJ moment where it was like, hey, I gotta rest, and he was laying down on the bed, and then the hunters came in after him. I think at that point onward, I was doing nothing but almost main story stuff beyond that, because that's where the game really got interesting. Those MJ moments in the game, I felt like for a lot of different people, it was like tedious in the first previous games though, but in this game, they reward you with each MJ moment, and she felt like she got a little bit stronger each time those moments kind of came in there. Like you had the upgrade where you were able to web up the enemies, so then that way you're able to just run up and tase them, to the point at the very end of the game, you just straight up shooting those suckers with your gun like that. I was like, what on earth, MJ? Oh, shoot, though. But yeah, in that one moment where you had Miles versus Peter and they were fighting while he had that symbiote suit on, oh my gosh, I felt like that was a really good Civil War moment, like an Iron Man versus a Captain America kind of point right there. I just love that interaction right there. Harry, though, oh my gosh, that dude went through and experienced a ton of stuff in this game, though, and I knew he was going to probably have the suit, but I didn't think he was going to be the one actually Venom, because Eddie Brock was the one that used to be Venom in some of the previous iterations within the Spider-Man universe and stuff like that. But when Insomniac Games came out and confirmed that, oh, he's not going to be the actual holder for Venom, I was like, well, who in the world that's gonna be? And I was like, it ain't gonna be Harry, right? Because in some parts he normally turns into like the newer Green Goblin. So I was like, no, it can't be him. But the more and more I saw the story play out, I was like, oh shoot, he's gonna be Venom though. And then jump forward all the way to, you get close to the very end of the game, and you have Harry demanding, he's like, give me that suit, because this dude was dying, like he was on his deathbed. And Peter's trying to do everything possible to try to help his bro out. And all of a sudden, man, that dude took it and he became Venom himself. That's why I flipped out, because I know every one of y'all, you and your mamas and everybody else that played that game, when you hit that part of the story and then you see Venom kind of tearing through, and then you have Harry's dad like, stop, don't hurt him. And then he throw Spider-Man out the way and stuff like that, and he's just wrecking the whole this area. And then when you saw that square button came up and it popped up and said attack, I was like, freaking yes. I was like, oh my gosh. Because I will say right there, it's been a long time since we've been able to play as Venom in any kind of Spider-Man game. I think it was a 2005 game way back when. Oh my gosh. That moment was great. Even though we only had 2 dedicated levels to it, and it's not like you can easily go back and play it unless you restart the game all over again. they gave you a small little taste of Venom. So I'm hoping Insomniac Game hears out our cries that yes, we definitely want a Venom game. Like literally, you getting over here biting off people's heads, crunching their backs. I was like, what on earth? Oh my gosh, I just need that Venom game though. But overall, it was really sad to see Harry die, or nearly die. Thanks to Miles, who was able to bring him back though. So I was like, oh my gosh, that was just absolutely crazy in and of itself. A really great story nonetheless though. When you look at the after ending credit scenes, they definitely set it up for Spider-Man 3. Like we definitely know that they kind of confirmed that they're gonna make a sequel for this game. Obviously it will be Green Goblin's making an appearance. I think maybe he's gonna get Doc Ock out. Maybe they're gonna do some tag team and stuff like that though. But the more interesting thing is the second end credit scene, Jester 2. The fact that they also brought up a new character called Cindy Moon, aka Silk, if you happen to know her in the comics. Yes, we're getting the introduction of a brand new Spider-Man that's gonna, or I say Spider-Man's technically be a Spider-Woman up in the game. Oh my gosh. So literally Spider-Man 3 is literally going to be 3 different Spider-Mans, and they're kind of playing into the number right there. So it's interesting how they're going to be able to introduce more characters up in here. So where do we go from here? Where do we get the spin-off thing being Venom? I really hope so. And then they definitely said in Spider-Man 3 a lot of great stuff that was showcased up in the story. It almost shook me up a little bit right when Harry was about to die towards the very end though, but that was a very meaningful and impactful story for me right there. So that's gonna basically do it in terms of my mini review for Spider-Man 2 right here. Honestly, we already know that they're setting up a trilogy series right here, or at least 3 games, if not maybe more though. We know Insomniac Games is gonna be working on Wolverine. They got another unannounced project right now, which could be a multiplayer game though, but they're doing a lot of good stuff. And from one of my top 2 favorite gaming studios right there, Insomniac Games, they were really cooking on this one, especially with all those Venom moments in this game. They were really cooking on this game. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below, what all did you think about this game? Have you managed to go through it, and have you managed to beaten it? If you do and you happen to talk about spoilers, put some dots down below so that way no one gets spoiled on it though. But yeah, and then if you happen to still be going through the game right now, you know, just kind of give me your thoughts down in the comment section down below, because this is a game that's honestly my contender for game of the year. I thought Tears of the Kingdom was going to be up there for me though, but after going through and experiencing this deep, enriching, epic cinema related game, holy shoot man, this just completely blew me out of the water right here though. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of this video right here. So if you really like it, make sure to go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until our video up ain't next, see y'all.